You may not have heard of them, and that is because they're not recognized in the Kenyan official list of tribes. The Yaaku are found in the county of Laikipia. This tribe is on the verge of extinction. The Yaaku once lived in the Mukogodo forest of only 9 elders who can speak fluent Yaaku. Assimilated into the Maasai way of life, the Yaaku are fighting for recognition and survival of the now dying language. Rita Tinena went in search of the few remaining Yaaku speakers and the cave that they once lived in.
Overlooking the Mukogodo Hills in Doldol, Laikipia County, a group of old men gather. But they are not here for some idle chat or to reminisce on good old days gone by. The 5 are among the 9 people who can fluently speak the dying Yaaku language.
Salamu, echei, ukisema jambo, mimi nasema, eo.
This gathering is one of the many that the Yaaku convened to strategize on how to keep their language alive. The Yaaku believe they are of Rendile ancestry.
Na kwa sababu ya vita wenyewe kwa wenyewe ya Rendile, basi hawa vijana 4 waliweza kutoroka na watu walipigana, na hawa walikuja wakaishi ndani ya msituni hii ya Mukogodo. Mukogodo ni Yaaku.
The Yaaku were hunters and gatherers who lived in the Mukogodo forest.
Ilikuwa hakuna shamba, hakuna ng'ombe, hakuna busi, hakuna kitu kingine, lakini wanadumu kwa pango.
The 19th century saw the arrival of the Maasai into Laikipia.
Wamasai basi wakaendelea kuwa wengi kutuliko kwa sababu sisi Wayaaku ni watu wachache.
Outnumbered by the Maasai, for survival, the Yaaku had to abandon their ways and were slowly assimilated into the Maasai way of life, learning the Maasai language and culture.
Basi Wamasai wakatamani wasichana, wakakuja sasa kuomba wasichana. Sasa akichukua msichana, anapatia Yaaku ng'ombe.
Wasijana ndio walituunganisha na Wamasai. Na ndio wakati walikutana, sasa lugha ikapotelea hapo.
Now, there are only 9 elders who can speak fluent Yaaku and about 30 people who can understand much of the language.
Mimi nasikia sana, lakini kujibu ni kujibu kidogo tu, siwezi kujibu kama wao wase.
Keen on holding on to what is left of their language and culture, they have documented their early way of life here at the Yaaku Cultural Museum in Doldol. From weapons that were used in hunting, storage devices for meat and honey, footwear, stools, to knives. The Yaaku Cultural Museum illustrates the Yaaku transition from a life of hunting and gathering to cattle rearing, from living in caves to Maasai-style huts. And the efforts to keep the Yaaku culture alive goes beyond the museum walls.
We say
at the local primary school in Doldol, Manasseh Matunge, who has been leading the crusade to try and save the language, teaches pupils some Yaaku. Matunge is allowed by the school administration 1 Yaaku language lesson every 2 weeks. He has also printed charts of words commonly used to describe body parts or kitchen items to help pupils learn the dying language.
Kama tunaweza kuzungumza, hata tushanganye hiyo Yaaku, tushanganye na Kimaasai kidogo, tushanganye na lugha yetu, itakuwa kama ile Sheng. Sasa tunaweza kuzungumza lugha nyingine tofauti, lakini tunasema hiyo ndio Yaaku sasa ya leo.
The Yaaku say they feel marginalized and neglected by the government.
Kile kitu tunataka serikali itutambue. Itambue ya kwamba jamii hii ni jamii ndogo katika Kenya. Katiba inasema ya kwamba jamii zote za county lazima ziwe reflected, lazima zionekane, sura ya hiyo county ionekane kwa county assembly. Lakini Laikipia sisi hatujaonekana pale.
The Yaaku now live in Doldol, but memories of their early life in the forest and caves of Mukogodo are yet to fade away. We went in search of the original home of the Yaaku, the caves that they once lived in. We are forced to abandon our car not too long after we embark on the journey. What follows is a long and strenuous walk up the Mukogodo forest and hills. It is in the middle of the dry season, but Mukogodo forest has retained its greenery. Here, nature is at its best. The forest, which was home to the Yaaku, is now under pressure due to illegal logging by communities that have encroached the area near the forest. After a 1-hour walk, the first sign of the caves that the Yaaku lived in. 2 hours later, and we realized that our walk under the scorching sun was worth the trouble. We get to the Mukogodo Hills viewpoint and witness the breathtaking view of the Mukogodo escarpment. We do not make it to the big caves that the Yaaku once lived in, but the small caves give us an indication of just how life was for the Yaaku. For years, the Yaaku called such rock shelters and caves home. Now deserted, they stand as one of the few reminders that the Yaaku once lived here, even as they struggle to salvage the little that is left of their culture and keep the tribe alive. Rita Tinina, KTN, Mukogodo Forest, Laikipia County.